Some insects live longer than your dog, and one can live for decades. I have spent a lifetime watching the natural world. Keep its secrets, and today I bring you one that never fails to astonish: the quiet endurance of insects, many of which spend years beneath our notice. This is a 10-minute countdown of the top 10 longest living insects, each with its own strategy for survival and longevity. In this countdown, we will travel from watery ponds where dragonfly nymphs bide their time, to dark subterranean palaces where termite queens preside for decades. I begin beside still water, where dragonflies undertake an extraordinary pact with time. The adults we admire, jewel-like hunters, live briefly measured in weeks or months, yet beneath the surface their nymphs may linger for up to 5 years. In murky ponds and reed-fringed ditches, these aquatic young feed, molt, and grow slowly, shielded from the seasonality above. The nymph stage is a study in patient engineering. Gills tucked within the abdomen, a powerful prehensile labium that snaps forward to capture prey, and a physiology tuned for long, slow growth. When the time is right, after years of submerged existence, the nymph climbs a reed, molts one final time, and emerges as a winged adult. For many species, the balance between a long nymphal life and a short adult one is evolution's answer to unpredictable environments. By living long as nymphs, they survive bad seasons and exploit good ones. The stick insect, so perfectly coiffed to resemble twig or leaf, lives a life of quiet concealment that can stretch to 3, sometimes 5, years in certain species. I have held these creatures in the palm of my hand and felt the slow, deliberate movements of an animal whose whole existence is designed to avoid attention. In the wild, their fate is tied to predation, climate, available foliage. In captivity, shielded from hungry birds, sudden droughts, many species reveal their full longevity. There is great variation among phasmids. Small, short-lived species complete their cycle quickly, while larger tropical counterparts may take longer to mature and therefore live longer as adults. Females of some species may reproduce parthenogenetically, producing clones without mating, which can influence both population dynamics and how long a particular lineage persists. Their slow metabolism, cryptic lifestyle, and low-energy existence contribute to their extended lives. They do not expend themselves in frantic displays or long migrations. Instead, they endure, molting carefully, renewing their skeleton beneath, and continuing to feed on leaves over successive seasons. Sometimes it is about invisibility, about the patient persistence of those who are seen only when they choose to be. Their longevity reminds us that there are many strategies for lasting in a world of peril. Within the buzzing choreography of a honeybee colony sits a singular figure whose life surpasses that of her worker daughters, the queen. While the workers toil, they often live mere weeks to months during the busy season. A well-cared-for queen may survive up to 5 years, sometimes longer. Her longevity is not a quirk. It's the result of huge biological investment. She is fed and groomed. She is shielded from hazards. She is sustained by royal jelly in her earliest days. A queen's extended life is inseparable from her role: to lay thousands of eggs, her ovaries working ceaselessly to keep the colony going. In addition to nutrition, pheromonal control helps stabilize social order, and it suppresses worker reproduction, a chemical authority that maintains cohesion for years. Yet queens are not immortal. Disease threats, parasites like varroa mites, environmental stressors can shorten their reign. Beekeepers frequently replace aged queens to maintain productivity. Observing a queen move slowly among her attendants, laying eggs with astonishing regularity, one sees why the colony invests so heavily in preserving her life. The queen honeybee exemplifies how social structure can extend individual life, sheltered, provisioned, integral to a superorganism's function. She becomes more than a single insect. Chapter 4. The Madagascar hissing cockroach is a creature of remarkable composure, often living up to 5 years in captivity where food is steady and predators absent. These large wingless roaches are famed not only for their hissing calls, but for their resilience. In laboratory and zoo settings, they demonstrate impressive longevity compared to many other cockroach species. Their slow lifestyle, feeding, molting, seeking shelter, contributes to a durability that surprises those who equate a cockroach with brevity. In the wild, predation, parasitism, seasonal variation can shorten lives, but in controlled environments, these insects reach their full lifespan potential. Their physiology is robust, a tough exoskeleton, efficient digestion, and an ability to survive periods of scarcity. Their social interactions include communal resting and chemical communication that may also aid survival. Thus, the hissing roach represents endurance achieved by steady, conservative living. In the dry eucalypt forests of Australia lives a truly remarkable insect, the giant burrowing cockroach, Macropenethia rhinoceros, which can live around 10 to 12 years. These imposing creatures are not the fleeting pests of household lore, but long-lived subterranean herbivores, growing slowly and investing in a life underground. Their size, slow growth rate, and burrowing habits, living in burrows lined with fecal pellets and plant detritus, avoid hazards that shorten other insects' lives. Their metabolism is slow, energy is conserved, growth proceeds steadily, and reproduction is infrequent compared with smaller roaches. A stable microhabitat allows individuals to persist year after year beneath the leaf litter. Studies of captive specimens confirm that with steady food and shelter, these cockroaches can survive for more than a decade, maintaining a slow but persistent life cycle. Size and subterranean refuge allied to longevity. Where predation and climate extremes are minimized, a decade becomes a reasonable expectation. Few natural phenomena capture the imagination like the emergence of periodical cicadas. Magicicada species that spend 13 years beneath our feet as nymphs, 17 years beneath our feet as nymphs, before a synchronized, spectacular return to the surface. For the vast majority of their lives, these cicadas feed on tree root sap in darkness, molting and growing slowly over years measured in prime-numbered intervals. Then, in a single season, millions burst forth, molt into winged adults and fill the air with a chorus that is both deafening and ephemeral. Their longevity is a strategy of predator avoidance and environmental timing. By emerging in massive synchronized waves only every 13 years, or 17 years, they overwhelm predators and ensure sufficient survivors to reproduce. The adult phase, by contrast, is brief, mere weeks for mating, egg-laying, and the renewal of the next subterranean generation. The contrast between decades of subterranean adolescence and a fleeting aerial adulthood is perhaps nature's most dramatic example of time partitioned. Watching a brood emerge is to witness evolution's gamble. Patience underground rewarded by sheer numbers above, before quiet returns. In the story of periodical cicadas, time itself is a stage. Long, measured subterranean years followed by a brief, brilliant crescendo. And it is this rhythm that secures their survival across centuries. Leafcutter ant queens are the architects of vast fungal farms in the heart of colonies that can persist for many years, with queens reported living up to around 15 years. From a single mating flight, she founds a colony that may grow into an ecological powerhouse, her body transformed into an egg-laying machine that sustains the society. Elaborate chambers for fungus gardens, dedicated casts for cutting and carrying leaves, soldiers for defense, all revolve around the queen's reproductive output. Her longevity has profound implications: continuity, institutional memory, genetic persistence, that stabilizes the colony's operation over years. In captivity and well-studied field colonies, queens have been documented to survive for a decade or more. The queen's extended life is supported by social care. Workers feed her, groom her, protect her, creating a sheltered niche for reproduction. Together, their cooperative economy reduces extrinsic mortality and enables sustained egg production. The queen's lifespan becomes the anchor of the entire enterprise. Thus, the leafcutter queen's 15-year reign is a testament to social organization and cooperative care. She is long-lived and long-serving, her life measured in the steady turnover of generations that tend her legacy. Termites present a stark contrast within a single society. Workers and soldiers often live short lives, measured in months to a few years, while their queens achieve extraordinary longevity. In a termite mound, the workers are the tireless labor force, foraging, feeding the brood, maintaining the nest. They accept high levels of risk and have life histories adapted to rapid turnover. Soldiers, too, sacrifice longevity for defense. This division of labor serves a simple evolutionary logic. The colony's continuity depends on longevity of reproductive individuals, while day-to-day functioning relies on a renewable workforce. Short individual lives fuel long-term success. This contrast prepares us for a deeper astonishment. When one considers the same colony's queen, whose life can span decades. Understanding termite social structure illuminates why some members bequeath longevity to the whole, while others sacrifice years to sustain it. Among ants, we find some of the most impressive lifespans recorded in insects. Queens of certain species such as Lasius niger have been documented to live up to 30 years. This is a longevity that places them alongside small birds and short-lived mammals. Yet here it is, achieved by a single insect within a social framework. The queen's long life is intimately linked to her role. She is the reproductive nucleus. Ant queens are nourished and protected by workers, allowing them to direct energy almost exclusively into egg production. Efficient antioxidant systems, reduced activity levels, reproductive specialization. In laboratory colonies and in well-protected natural nests, queens can thus continue to lay eggs for decades while their worker offspring cycle through many short-lived generations. The stability conferred by a long-lived queen has cascading ecological consequences: soil turnover, seed dispersal, interspecies interactions, all for decades. Experienced workers teach younger ones. The colony's culture is transmitted across time, with overlapping generations maintained by the queen's steady output. I have observed nests that persist through years of environmental fluctuation, their continuity owed to a queen whose lifespan exceeds that of entire generations of vertebrates. Longevity is collective and individual. The queen's long life is possible only because a community preserves her. And in return, she guarantees the colony's future. It is a partnership with time at its core. Ranking in at number 2, the queen honeybee, whose well-cared-for life may reach 5 years, sometimes longer, stands as a social triumph of extended lifespan. As we've seen, her longevity emerges from extraordinary investment: nutrition, care, pheromonal control, and a role focused entirely on reproduction. Across seasons, her steady egg-laying anchors a superorganism. Even in the face of threats and requeening practices, the biological potential of a queen bee places her among the longest-lived insect individuals outside termite and ant royalty. 5 years is extraordinary for an insect, but number 1 dwarfs even this, reigning not for years, but for decades. Stay with me for the reveal. The queen honeybee remains a masterclass in how social structure, protection, and provisioning stretch life far beyond expectation, an elegant prelude to the longest living insect of all. At number 1, termite queens, reproductive monarchs whose lives can span decades, with some documented to 20-50 years depending on species and conditions. Sheltered within climate-stabilized fortresses, guarded and provisioned by thousands, their bodies become prodigious egg-laying engines. Minimal extrinsic risk and continuous social care turn years into decades. "Stay with me until the end," I said, "because here, an insect's reign can last half a human lifetime. In the quiet heart of a mound, time itself bends to the will of a queen."